We leave it there. Okay, we're recording. Say hi. All right. Welcome to my first attempt to make a video of me working with my horse. This is Lady. She is a 3-year-old thoroughbred off the track. I recorded this on December 30th, and she came home to be with me in early October. Since that time, she's had some surgery and has been in rehab for a while, and I'm not able to do a whole lot with her, but I can do some stuff at the walk, so that's what we're working on today. Today, I introduced her to a tarp for the first time. So she's never really seen a tarp before. We have done a little bit of desensitization work, but not a ton. But I just wanted to show the process that I have been using with her. I started off, I grabbed a tarp from home and just bundled it up so it was similar to the size of a ground pole, which she has been over ground poles and she's fine with that. But I wanted to make this a nice, positive experience for her. The goal of this session is for her to end it being confident and proud of what she accomplished. So you can see here, this is the first time she's actually come up to the tarp, and she's a little bit hesitant about going over it. Felt like it was important to let her take her time. I'm putting a little pressure on the lead rope, but not a whole lot. Let's see if she's thinking about it. And my goal here, I know her well enough to know she just needs time to process some things. So she's considering it, looking at the door, and then she decides to walk on over it. So she's a good girl. And I do give her a treat. And so you can see strategically I put the tarp a little bit away from the wall so she can walk around it. And the first couple of times she went by, you may notice she didn't step on the tarp at all. She just walked by it. It's a little hard to tell from the video, but I was paying attention to the way she was looking at it. There she decided she wanted to walk beside it, and that was fine with me at that point. I'm doing this gradually. She just kind of decided earlier that she was going to walk right over the top of it. Now she's deciding that it's easier to walk around it, and that's totally fine. She seems pretty comfortable, so I'm moving the tarp a little bit closer to the wall. But still there's room that she can get around the sides if she wants to. So now we just go back and forth a few more times until she seems pretty comfortable. And that doesn't take too long. I gave her a treat, tell her what a good girl she is. And I'm trying to step on the tarp and let it make some noise so she kind of gets used to that. Now I move it a little bit closer. So now she doesn't really have a choice but to walk over it, which she is pretty happy to do. She's still a little bit hesitant. And there she gets stuck a little bit on the wall. She put her foot right next to the wall, and now she's standing there trying to figure out how to get herself out of this mess. So I just let her process it. Give her time. And she decides to walk right over it. So I go back over the tarp a few more times until she is comfortable before stepping up the challenge anymore. Again, my goal is always to use these kinds of exercises to instill confidence in her. She's not typically a very anxious mare for an off-the-track thoroughbred, but she certainly does get anxious, and she's still a baby. And now I start to open up the tarp. I just open it up a little bit so that she could still walk all the way over it and not touch it if she wanted to. You can see here she's contemplating it, thinking about trying to go around it, and she can't. So she's just deciding how she wants to handle this. She decides going all the way around is the best way, which that's fine. Eventually, I definitely want her to walk across the tarp when I ask her to, but at this point, my goal is just to get her comfortable with it. You can see she was just a little bit nervous there. She sped up just a tiny bit, but overall, she was a really good girl. And that time, she did great. So now, I open the tarp all the way up. Kind of makes some noise and things like that. She stands there and processes everything really well. Also give a good pat for good measure because she's being good. Actually, when I pulled her out of, she was on turnout with some friends, and when I went to go catch her, she was, believe it or not, running around bucking and roaring and running and being an absolute nut. But she's, once you catch her, once you start working with her, she's just pretty chill. So I was really happy she just volunteered to walk on and check it out. She's generally pretty curious. So just let her absorb it for a little bit. I actually had a treat in my hand and I put it on the tarp. I'm trying to entice her to walk over to eat it. Trying not to put too much pressure on her. I want this to be her choice more than my choice and make her feel confident about it. So I put a treat on there. But she wasn't really very interested in the treat. She was more interested in the tarp, and you can see she's sniffing the the tarp, and then she does something really kind of funny here in a little bit. But she decides she is going to bite the tarp with her teeth, and you can see it kind of spooks her a little bit, and here it is in slow motion, but it just, the whole tarp kind of moved, and that spooked her a little bit. But I will say that I was very happy with the way she came back to me and settled right back down as soon as she spooked and decided the tarp was not a big deal. I'm still trying to get her to eat that treat. I can move it over for her here. And so, you know, a lot of this is pretty slow, but my goal is just to, again, give her some confidence in doing some new things, letting her figure out that I am not going to ask her to do too much. I'm not going to ask her to do things she can't handle, and she can trust me. And that seems to be going pretty well. She's asking me for treats, but she's being pretty polite about it. And I decide to move her on. And so far what I've been doing is working her, just leading her over, so she has a nice, safe person to follow. But what I start doing, I went and got a little crop. She doesn't really know how to lunge yet, but this is the beginning of sending her over the tarp on her own. That requires a little more confidence in her part. I run into a little bit of trouble here. She doesn't, she's obviously not quite as comfortable with me working on her right side, and she doesn't know how to lunge. So, not well anyway. We're just starting to work on it. But she does pretty good here. So I sent her back and forth across the tarp a few times until she gets comfortable. And for the most part, she seems okay with that. I think our biggest trouble with this, if anything, is she just, we're not speaking the same language yet when it comes to being sent from the ground to do things. I've worked with her in hand some, but not on like lunging type going forward stuff, since she has been restricted to the walk only as I've been working with her for the last couple of months. She had some dirt lesions in her hocks when I got her, and so she had to have some surgery to have those removed, and then was on stall rest for a while and turnout, but we're not cleared to really start riding and doing any work until the first of the year, which is pretty close. But there's all kinds of stuff that you can do in the meantime with them to get them going. And it sure has been kind of nice, actually, to have a horse that's going through rehab, and it's really forced me to slow down, take some time, and really put good basics on her. So some other things that I have worked with her on is just getting her really rock solid at the mounting block. And I have sat on her and I've ridden her a couple of times for short rides at the walk. And she's been a good girl. But, you know, at the beginning, she's just like most of the off-the-track thoroughbreds. You know, they're used to, they don't know mounting blocks. They, you know, normally the jockeys get a leg up as they're heading out to do stuff. So when you get on, it's time to go. So we've worked on some on that. I've been working on getting her used to going in a bit without as much anxiety. I find that it's true for all the off-the-track thoroughbreds I've ever worked with. When they come off the track, I don't think it's so much that they're uncomfortable in the mouth. I mean, sometimes maybe they are, but there's just a lot of habitual anxiety that comes out with the bit. You know, they're used to having their tongues tied when they run. I don't know many thoroughbreds that don't have their tongues tied when they run, and just all of it. You know, they're used to hanging on the bit. So a lot of what I've been working on is just trying to get rid of that. So anyway, thank you for watching.